there's the record, and there's that, and you're up and running.
Hey, Chels.
Hey, Stace.
So listen, yeah, breakups suck, but have you ever left your to-go box on your restaurant table? That burns so much worse.
Oh my gosh, I wanted to eat those tacos later.
Right? Not even tomorrow, like the same night.
Like the same night. I just was being a dainty female and not eating my whole meal.
Right? And also, I am a meal. Ow! Dave, please play that track. Why? You're so fabulous.
Yeah, I'm single, ready to mingle. Yeah, I'm single. These are the reasons why I'm single.
Stacy.
Chelsea, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been watching TikTok like a lot, and
I'm still fasting.
good for you. And yeah, because I've been watching TikTok a lot. That darn Golden Girls thing that you love is like freaking everywhere, and everybody has the same reaction that I do. Like they're taking the sound and they're just playing it with their spouse or significant other next to them, and they're like, as soon as they start like mouthing the, start from the bottom and what's top, everybody's significant other's like, why?
What are you doing?
Why? Like, it's a perfect song. Why?
You know what? You bring up a good point, because the way I was introduced to it many moons ago was it was saying if Black people were to redo the theme song to the Golden Girls. So I was just like, okay. So I was mentally prepared for what was about to happen.
Yeah.
However, if I was surprised with it, and let's say the song was playing, and all of a sudden you started going, I probably would say, no. Like, you do not do this to the ladies of Miami.
See, that makes sense, but I've always been very like, no.
Anyways,
like this.
Right. But what up, America and world? This is Reasons Why I'm Single. Thank you for hanging out with us yet again. You will notice not only is the backdrop of this boudoir green, but also our shirts are green. Chelsea, why did we pick green?
Well, it's because St. Patty's Day is right around the corner.
Around the corner.
Sometimes I love that we forget, because we can see each other, that people listen to the show. So
However, I purposely just mouthed words because I thought you're gonna keep going. So I'm like, let me just jam. Let me just like be in the holding pen.
The corner I could think of was I think it's like a jingle. Yeah, it's the Speedway jingle. It's like around the corner.
Around the country.
We're on the way, and every day to the convenience stores of Speedway.
Yes, come through Speedway. Yes. Also, get that rewards card because it's so worth it, and you can get yourself some awesome cups of coffee. And they do have good coffee, okay? I don't care if it's a gas station. Speedway does have legit coffee. They have so many different brews. They are not a paid sponsor tonight, but maybe they will be, because I definitely hook up with Speedway.
Yeah. She hooks up with Speedway.
Sometimes multiple times a week.
So, I mean, I don't know that St. Patrick's Day is going to be the same or like they used to be, but we're going to party anyway here with green.
Yes, I still have yet to read it, but there's this Wall Street Journal article about day drinking. It just how so many people have been doing it more because they're just stuck at home. And I'm just like, interesting. I guess that would be a way to try different beverages, but also like that you don't want that to become your daily routine, because that is imperative. It'll impair your judgment, and also expensive. And also
So
you
when you
can't drive
finally get
anywhere.
on the Zoom call with your boss and all of a sudden you're recommending that everyone gets a puppy, you're like, but hear me out for productivity's sake, puppies.
Right? We couldn't have him in the office. Do you guys remember offices? Like, we used to do this, but like in person,
Just imagine it with a puppy. I'd
right?
get my work done.
Right. I would stay at my desk because like little furry puppy gonna be like, where you going? Hold me. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna hold you. I'm gonna hold you all day long. I'm gonna bust out 5 times as many emails because I don't want to disturb my little puppy.
You know how many people are gonna want to work here because they get a puppy? You'd be like the Oprah of puppies. You get a puppy. You get a puppy. Everybody gets a puppy.
Ma'am or sir, have you been drinking? First of all, why would a puppy imply alcohol?
And B, partially.
All right, Chels, because we've already gotten carried away because we're just so much fun. Why don't we take care of some business?
Love it. It's time for the fake name letter of the day.
So for the
Some
fake
might
names,
call it a series.
oh, you want to remix it? You want to go back?
I literally did letter. I think we stopped doing letters like 3 years ago.
Gosh, I don't know when we did. Maybe 3 years ago, because I feel like we went through the alphabet at least twice.
At least twice. So, and we're at like 4 3/4 years right now.
Wow. So shouts out to our day ones who know what we're talking about, but also shout outs to our new ones who are like, what are you talking about? So let me
Well,
explain.
Why am I single? And we're
Huh.
going to tell you why we are.
Okay. So the fake name series of the day is what we use to say the shade. So instead of using people's real names, we use names that are from the fake name series of the day to hide their identities. But if they heard these stories,
They know who they are.
are, whether near or far. So also, darling new ones, it used to be the fake name letter of the day. So each week we would have a different letter of the alphabet and all of the names would have to start with that letter. But then after going through the alphabet 2 times, we were like, hey, what is something else with variety? Television series.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes. And also, we haven't asked you guys in a while. We're sorry, but just because we don't ask you doesn't mean we don't want to hear from you. Feel free to keep hitting us up on the socials. Also, it's the social medias. She hates it. Do you know what, Chelsea? Though you still look cute even when you're mad, and that's real. And it must be real because we're not dating. So the fact that I'm saying that means that it's real, and I'm not just trying to get on your good graces so I can get a good night of sleep. Anyway. But yes, if there's a certain television series that we haven't done or that you want us to do, hit us up. We're on Facebook at Reasons Why I'm Single, or you can hit us up on Twitter or Instagram with the same handle, RWIS Podcast. So,
Sorry, I'm posting so that people know we're here. Sorry.
oh my gosh, we're here and also there where you are on the internet. So today's series of the day is Mad About You.
Oh, I wasn't allowed to watch this show, but then I would like sneak it sometimes. And then actually, I think Prime brought it back again
Did.
with the same people, which is super cute.
Oh, you mean like a reboot?
Yeah.
Oh, so I started watching the OG series. I'm only 2 episodes in, but it's enjoyable.
It's fun. From what I remember, it was one of those shows that I like snuck watched, but I also really liked in that same time frame was like Caroline in the City. That was a good one too.
I
Yeah,
enjoyed that.
for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
for sure. Like for actual. So Mad About You, it's about Paul and Jamie Buckman, maybe Butchman, I don't know. Haven't heard their last names yet. But Paul and Jamie face an unexpected challenge after several years of marriage when their daughter moves away from home to study at a university. Apparently that's where the series is going, because based on the first 2 episodes, they are newlyweds and they're just trying to figure out Like, just making sure they still have their groove.
So that synopsis is for the reboot.
Oh, my apologies. All right, so we're going with the OG, but still same characters. Same characters. So, original series talked about them being newlyweds, trying to figure out, how they still got their like sexy newlywed groove and just experiencing life now living and married together. And then the reboot is about their daughter moving away and them trying to find their new normal.
Yay!
Yeah.
So what's new with you, Stace? What's been going on?
What is new with me? I have to say, last week was a week of a lot of good news from other people. And with the madness that has been going on in our lives
For the last year.
yes, it was just really nice to hear great things happening with people. For example, a friend of mine, Murray, he swore me to secrecy, but he was like, "Hey, I just need to tell someone. I just found this news out." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, is everything okay? Like, do you want to FaceTime? What's going on?" He said, "Baby boy, Murray is gonna be here in September." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you and your wife are expecting a baby!" I was so excited. And then the next day, a dear friend of mine, Fran, she sent myself and another friend, there's like 3 of us that are pretty close, pictures of her hand with a shiny engagement ring on it. Yes.
Nice.
And then
Is that the friend
finally,
who I think I know? Is that the friend who I'm thinking of?
I have no idea. That was actually very vague. Is that the friend that I'm thinking of? I don't know. But I will show you the pictures afterward. So happy, super great news. And then I ran into an old coworker named Marvin. Ding.
Ding.
And he
Sorry,
said,
ding.
he said, "Hey," he was just like, "Wow." He goes, "I'm just kind of anxious and a little excited." I was like, "Oh, what's going on?" He was just like, "Oh, my baby is the size of an acorn squash." I'm like, "You and your wife are pregnant?" Like, I'm just so happy. I'm just so happy to hear about these great things happening in people's lives, no matter what is going on around us. Like, there's still good things happening. So yay for all the good news. Yay.
Good news. Musicals.
Oh, what's it from?
Wicked.
Oh, noted.
Noted.
What's going on with you, boo?
I started going back to the gym.
Inspire me, please. Because it's been a while.
I got I actually had a really good chat with well, slight side note. So as some of you know, I'm only part-time at Ulta now, and I got a job at a bakery. Well, the bakery has kind of expanded my responsibilities. So I have these meetings with people and just trying to get fundraisers going and all this stuff. So it is interesting because usually most of my job has been, my entire life has been catering to women. So it's not been like an opportunity to like meet men, really. So I always laugh. I'm like, we work at Victoria's Secret. How am I going to meet guys? I work at BB. How am I going to meet guys?
What has changed?
Like, I work at a makeup store. They're not coming in for me.
Yet.
That's why whenever the handyman would come in, I'd be like, "Oh, hi. Who are you?"
I was just about to say it. I was like, unless it was the handyman, like, yeah, you better fix that fluorescent light.
Right there. It's a good angle.
Yes.
So they so I have a group that I meet with every week virtually, and one of the guys in there is like he's a fitness guy, but he's so fit that he actually has like a pretty ridiculous following on Instagram.
Ooh.
And we have basically the group that I'm in, it works on forcing us to market with each other. So we have to do these one-on-ones. Once a week we need to meet with somebody in the group. So
I like it.
so I messaged him and I was like, "Hey, I am not your demographic," because he is Instagram fit. So like, yeah.
Like for actual.
Like he did his little thing and he was like, follow me on Instagram. And I went on Instagram. I was like, dang. Hello. And he's like tall and blonde. And I'm like, tell me everything. Sure. So I sent him a message. I was like, listen, we can meet, but like, I know for a fact I'm not on your level. I'm not even on your level. Like your level is in a different building.
Same complex?
No.
Yeah.
So we ended up deciding we were going to meet. We met, give me a name for him.
Let's go with Bert.
Bert. Ding. Not a super hot name. Just imagine a hot Bert.
Do you want a hotter name?
No. I like Bert. We're going to go with it.
Come on, Bert.
So Bert and so he owns a gym and he was like, meet me at the gym, wear gym clothes, no big deal. And I was like, ha, 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 I wear a back brace to go to work. So he's like, wear the back brace. Like, let's just see where you're at. So we have this really good conversation. And, he's like, what are your goals? And I was like, well, and I start talking about health goals. And he was like, I'm going to stop you right there. And I was like, oh, because I was like, well, okay, here's the reality. The reality of where we're at in my life is that if I went to a doctor right now and they pulled out the BMI chart, they would tell me I have to lose over 100 pounds, which is a lot of weight. So I don't really know where to go from here because I've got so much weight that I've hurt my back. I work constantly. I'm working on the house. I'm doing all this stuff. I don't really make time for me in that aspect of things. So I start to say this and that's where he's like, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what are your goals in your life? And I was like, oh, Bert, we're getting real. And he goes, he's like, how are we supposed to figure out how fitness fits in your life if we don't know what your goals are for your life? And I was like,
follow.
Right? I'm like, okay, you had me at hello, tell me more. So also he's like very attractive and I'm like, oh, sorry.
Listen, I will continue.
He has light eyes, good shoulders.
I mean, I know he has good shoulders if he owns a gym. I already know that upper back is on point.
Oh my God. So I sat there and I was like, wow, that's a really that's a really good point. So he's like, what do you want to do with your life? And I was like, well, okay, I'm going to be 36 this year. I would like to get married and I would like to have the option to have kids. And I'm like, I bought a house. Besides the house debt, I want to get rid of my school loans and get myself to a point where I'm like really genuinely debt free. And when that all happens, then we'll be good to go,
Right.
And he's like, okay. So, and I sat there and he's like, okay, all right. So why don't you think, he goes, what are you doing right now to get you towards those life goals? I'm like, well, I did buy a house and I'm working on getting into it. And I was like, there's a lot of emotional baggage that comes with getting into the house. And I'm like, I genuinely don't even know what I'm going to be because I've never lived by myself. Like, even when I lived by myself in California, it was only for 2.5 months that I was legitimately by myself. And I shared a bathroom with a neighbor because it was that kind of apartment complex. And so I was never actually like alone, So I don't even know how I'm going to be in that sense. And he goes, okay, all right, well, how much time do you think you can commit to yourself in the sense of getting your stamina up? And he's like, because I can tell you right now, if you have to wear a back brace to work, that means that you have like no core strength. And I'm like, yeah, you are correct. And I was like, oh, you should also know my chiropractor said that I am no longer allowed to do sit-ups because every time I feel like I get to the point where I'm strong enough and I do sit-ups, even when I was on my like weight loss journey, I would throw my back out. So she was like, no more, you can't do sit-ups. Like your body literally is just not doing it. And he goes, oh, well, there's like 8,000 other things you can do. And I was like, really?
Okay, Bert.
Like, okay, fitness pro Bert hottie, tell me more. So
That sounds like an off-market Ken doll.
so he was like, okay, I'm gonna leave you in here. I'm gonna take as long as you need. I want you to write down every day the hours and how you spend it and what you do. And we're gonna find places where you can commit not only a little bit of time to the gym, but a little bit of time to your own self-care and the preparation of you being by yourself and what that means with food and living and time of day. And I was like, okay. So I spent probably an hour in his office figuring out, because he wanted me to do 2 weeks worth of like everything. So I broke it down, and then he looked, and I was extremely honest with what's going on in my life and what I do. Like, so full disclosure, y'all. Because right now I'm living with my parents and I don't really like conflict. I tend to avoid. Go figure. It's a crazy thing.
We are the same. We are peas in a pod, a delicious
So-
green edamame pod.
I tend to spend a little bit where someone might come home and like chill on the couch and like watch TV or do whatever they need to. I spend that time like in my car. And I don't mean that in a negative way. Like it's I know that sounds kind of sad, but I wrote it down. I was like, probably if I got out of work at 6:00 and I could be home and inside the house at like 6:15, I probably don't roll up till 7 because I've hung out in my car. I do my emails. I've explained this to you guys before. Like I do my emails. I do all this stuff. Like I'm doing stuff. Sometimes I'm also eating. Not
You're
so great.
decompressing.
But right, exactly, because I don't have that alone space. And so I'm explaining it to him and he's like, wait, I guess I just don't get it. And I'm like, do you live alone? Bert, do you have your own place? And he was like, he lives with his girlfriend. And I was like, luckiest lady ever. And and he's like, but I get it. You need your space. And he goes, I have my space. The basement in our house is my space. And we know we need our time. And he goes, I'm fortunate enough that I get done with work before she does, so that I get home and I can decompress and be completely good. And by the time she gets home, and then I just work on dinner while she's decompressing. And like, he's like, there's that give and take. But like he needs, I like that word, decompressing. But she's like, but he sat there and he goes, so you don't really have that. So your outlet tends to be food. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, well, why can't you just make the decision to, instead of sitting in your car and doing your emails, he goes, and I understand you need to do that, but he's like, when you get done with work, just come here and walk on the treadmill for 30 minutes. Nobody says you have to do a full workout every time you're at the gym. And he goes, and nobody said you have to go hard. Just show up, because you're showing up for you, and build that habit of being here. And he's like, once you get to that point, then you can go and do. Now, did I go today? No.
You had a podcast, Chelsea.
But I did go in the morning yesterday before work. And
That is early.
yeah. So it's, I'm getting there. We're getting there. But it was really interesting. Basically him being like, I am busy. I mean, he even said, he's like, wow, you're pretty busy. And I'm like, yeah. And then when I'm not doing anything else, I get in my car and I go do door dashing because that makes me money, and I'm spending money with the whole house thing. I got to make it. So, and this whole year's been crazy, and I know it's been crazy for everybody, but like my job took me to part-time, and now I'm shopping insurance, and it's expensive on your own. And like, it's just, everything costs more money than I am prepared to right now. So I tend to, hole up where I can. But when you break down my actual week's plan, or my 2 weeks worth of time, it's very doable for me to go to the gym and just do it for me, but also it's that whole thing where if somebody needs me, I'll drop everything and go. So I just have to learn that the person who needs me to drop everything and go is actually me right now.
Whoa, that's a word.
Right?
Ooh.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a process. And like I said, we're right at the start. But it is just a matter of like that intimidation. What's nice about his gym is that it's smaller. So it's not 100 people looking at you. Also, I know, because I don't look at anybody else at the gym. I know nobody's looking at me. but I still feel that harsh judgment, even when I'm at the place that says there's no judgment.
Girl, you and me both, because when was it? A couple weeks ago on a Saturday morning at like 9 in the morning, I went to the gym. I was like, it should be pretty empty, and that means I can go to the weight section. I do not like going to the weight section when there's people over there. I feel insecure. I feel as though everyone is looking at me and my flat butt in these tight pants, because wearing pants is a thing that I've been doing. It sounds weird, but I used to always wear shorts.
Yeah.
Where, like in high school, Chelsea would be like, hey, get ready to go and blah, blah, blah. And I'll say, okay, let me go put on some pants. I would always be in shorts. The past year, I have embraced pants. It's crazy. And so going into the weight section, so I've been wearing pants, so wearing leggings, and I go over there and I love, let me not say love, I adore squats. Squats make me feel delicious. Anything involving my legs make me feel great. And that stems from doing track in high school, because your girls' quadriceps over here, you'd always see 3 out of 4 of them popping. So you couldn't tell me about myself. So there's always like a little bit of muscle memory there. So when I do squats, since I haven't worked out in a long time, I can't do a whole ton of weight. So going into the weight section when it was empty and having 0 weight on that bar, but just picking it up and doing a squat, I'm like, girl, you are the sexiest person in this gym, even though I have no weight on the bar, but it just felt so nice to be able to do it and feel judgment free because there was no one around. But you're right, there's probably no one looking, but because I am trapped in my own mindset of fear, that's where I'm at when I go to the gym.
We all are. And even my friends who are insanely fit. Like I have a couple of friends that like you could, if they tried, they could have Instagram careers for their bodies. Like that's an insane thing. And like, and even them, they'll be like, oh yeah, I walk into the gym and I feel like if I do something wrong, they're gonna be like, why are you even here? And I'm like, but you live at the gym.
But you're beautiful. Adonis.
Just like, I have this fierce appreciation, and I like demand that people who are my friends appreciate themselves. And I just wish that I did that for myself, you know?
You and me both, sister.
I mean, it's crazy out there. Like, and this past year has been really hard on everyone. And, you know, I mean, we're all trying to adjust, but it's like, bless Bert's heart, dang, it is very expensive to go to his gym. And I get that I could adjust some things to make that happen, but I can't right now. So I've got to keep going to the judgment-free gym, and I just have to go. And my entire motivation the last time I was going, which was a year ago now, my friend and I need a girl's name.
Maggie
And I, ding. So Maggie and I are both plus size girls. Maggie's probably 25 to 30 pounds heavier than I am. And so she and I would get our butts up, and we live like 10 miles apart. We would go to the judgment-free zone that was gym that was 5 miles between us. And we would go at 5 in the morning because no one is there. And then we would do that circle. And other gyms, it's in the very, very middle. And I feel like everybody's looking at you there.
Yeah, gross.
But one particular gym, it's in a room off to the side. So we would do the whole.
No one else is in the room where it happens. What up, Hamilton?
We would do the whole cycle. It would take us, we'd do it twice because first we were just doing it once because we have no stamina, and we would intentionally do that. And then we were like, you know what, we're going to push it. We're going to do it twice. We start on the second one, we would like increase the weight or whatever, but we were going consistently every morning, and with maybe one day off each week. And then COVID happened, and it's crazy that
Isn't it?
Everything we were walking into the gym, and when there were normally like 12 people, which for that big gym is nothing, we would be the only people in the gym. So every time we walk in, we'd be like, they're going to shut this down any day. And because like they're not making any money, so what have
Right?
we been doing? But it's so anyway, if you're listening to this, I am not one to preach. Ooh, somebody talked.
Me.
Um,
Listen, it's
oh,
tough every
Monique.
day.
Monique said, have you thought about finding some online videos on days you don't have time to head to the gym? I find 15-minute videos on YouTube if I don't have a lot of time. Thank you so much for the comment, Monique. That's a great suggestion. I will say, in my situation currently, at my house, when I'm at my house, I think that will genuinely be a judgment-free zone. I don't think where I'm living right now is.
Got you. There's still too many eyes, too many spectators to make one feel comfortable to do that where you're living.
Right. But
Shout-
I think that's a great option
Yes.
going forward.
Shout out to you, because my issue, what I've learned from COVID, is that I am lazy. I had no idea how lazy I was. And talking about like working out for yourself. So, number one, I was inside, what was it? Saturday through last night. So, like 3 days straight, just inside and working. And I went for a walk yesterday. And so I went for a mile.
Michigan.
I love snow, so I feel some type of way. I feel as though, looking back on it, that's why I was indoors, because I'm like, this is unseasonal. Give me my snow. I need at least another blizzard and a half.
Well, that's the thing, though, Stacey. That's the thing about Michigan. This is like fake spring.
Bring on the real. Anyways, so I did a 1.5 mile walk, and when I say I was winded, I was winded. And that's because, like Chelsea was saying, a year ago, girl was in it. I would do that 5:45 a.m. cycling class, which whipped my behind into shape. And then I was also doing personal training like 1 to 2 times a week. Your girl was looking good. Okay. And then COVID hit, and I kept it up initially, and I was doing I think every other day I was doing 100 squats on my own with weights. And then I would also target a different group of muscles every day, because that's what the trainer had me doing. And then after about, I think, a month and a half, I just stopped. And for me, I, like Chelsea, we must be good friends.
Must be friends.
If someone needs something, I will drop everything I'm doing and help them out. That's the way I am with goals. If I set goals for myself, we'll see what happens. But if someone else set a goal for themselves and they could use my help for something, I will toss mine away and do whatever I can to make sure they achieve what they're working on. So going for my 1.5 mile walk yesterday, and I was winded. I'm like, girl, you've never been winded from walking before, but it just speaks to my poor eating habits, and also none of my jeans fit. I'm in that like maternity type of feel. Have I ever had a child? No. However, I can only wear barely my low-rise jeans because they're below the belly enough. I can actually fasten them, and then we just layer like so that you can't see the stomach area. But also, after I get done eating, I'll look in the mirror and turn to the side. I'm like, I do look like I'm pregnant. This is not good. I'm like, I'm the reason why you can't ask someone if they're pregnant, even if it looks obvious, because maybe they're not.
Maybe they're not.
Right. But super shouts out to C McD's. You know who you are. Number one, happy birthday. Woo! And also, she started doing a squat challenge, and I told her, do you need an accountability partner? Because I can do that for squats and it will be beneficial to me as well. So I realized maybe 10 minutes before talking about this that I did not do today's squat. So I guess I'll be doing that after this podcast.
There we go.
Yes.
I had a really interesting conversation with also the this previous Monday was International Women's Day. So
For your
women
ovaries.
being women, having periods, getting all that.
I'm just dancing. Sorry.
I mean, I'm here for it. But I had an interesting conversation with somebody today about how immediately attacked, like how immediately we as women, something we all need to do is, and it's how we're programmed. Have you ever been talking to another girl and then they bring up something's going on with somebody else, and your first, whether you say it or not, your first thought is immediately judgy and negative towards them. Like, so I mean, we're all guilty of it. This is the world that we live in. And I'm gonna take it like to a really, really far specific, but like it goes as far as like rape culture and the fact that like the immediate assumption is that the woman did something wrong. But even as women, we tend to first think that and then correct, you know? But that's with everything. Like, why do middle-aged women get to be called Karens when there's no male equivalent? Why do we always assume that women are the problem? And why do we beat each other down? When, you know what, maybe that woman who is, and mind you, sometimes they're real, I work retail. Sometimes they just need to stop. Their expectations are far too high.
Right?
But
Why isn't there Carl?
But why isn't there a Carl? Why can't we call out that? Like, so it was an interesting thing about women not supporting women. And so like, I would love for us and for you guys out there listening to just take a moment and message like two of your friends. It'll sound really weird, but just be like, hey, I just wanted to let you know that you're doing everything awesome and I support you in any way you need. And I guarantee it's the thing that person needs to hear, because especially with moving, I can't tell you how many times from the buying process to I post and I'll be like, hey, I need help painting. Hey, I need help this. And like, people don't stop everything and do for me like I do for them. And it has been a really eye-opening scenario. Like, there were people that I would have put money on they will be at my house helping me, and they've no-showed me every single time. The worst is when they tell me they're gonna be there and then they don't.
Yes. And I was gonna say also, Chelsea, just text me because I'm not on social media right now.
Stacey has shown up several times. That's not what I'm talking about.
I could do more.
But it's just a really interesting thing, because I feel like we all just need a little bit of love right now. And it may not be romantic love, because hello, reasons why I'm single.
Hi.
But like, it might be this women's support love, where it's like, you know what, I might not be in your same situation. You have 2 kids, you're running around like crazy, you're figuring out how to raise kids and teach them school and all of this. And if there's some way that I can support you, I just want you to know you're doing the best you've got, and you're doing great, and I support you 100%. And I feel like I sent a couple of those out this week, and I feel like people are like, oh my God, I don't know why you said that, but like, it's exactly what I needed. And I'm like, we need to build each other up. We can't make these assumptions and be like, oh, well, it's because, and I'm super guilty of this, guys. I have really harsh judgments on some women, and I don't really apologize for them. And I don't mean for like the fact that you should apologize for your feelings. You are entitled to every feeling that you have. And if somebody's wronged you, then, turning around and bending over so they can wrong you on the other side is not a good thing. But being able to like recognize whether you're being responsive I'm trying to think of what I'm trying to say. Like, whether it's like an automatic default response or there's actual like foundation to your feelings there. Like, that's the difference.
Listen, and I fessed up to this maybe a week or 2 weeks ago, how I always call people dumb or stupid. And that's not a fair response. So even if something happens that I think is not okay, but the other person think is okay, I'll say, whatever, they're dumb. And then my dad was the one that called me out on it, that said, you call people dumb a lot. I'm like, well, it's not that they're dumb. Their action was dumb, but that's my opinion on how I thought their action was. But I do say you're dumb and you're stupid a lot. Even if someone, Chelsea told me this, when if you do something that makes me like eye roll laugh, and I'll be like, you're stupid. Like, why is that my go-to? Why can't I just say you're hilarious? Like,
Well,
I need to work on it.
We've grown a lot because they're kids back in the day. The LGBT world, LGBTQIA plus, I believe, world was not as prevalent. And I think social media and RuPaul's Drag Race has made a huge leaps towards acceptance of all these things. But when we were kids, we used to say everything was gay.
Mhm.
Everything. If we thought it was stupid, we thought it was gay. And it's I wouldn't, I mean, even saying it now, I feel like
Cringy.
it's so cringy.
And
And
even
sorry,
in
go
that
ahead.
same generation, if someone was dumb, people would say you're being retarded.
Yeah, that's a trigger word for me.
Right? I did not use that. Let me not say that. I'm sure maybe it slipped out once or twice, but that one was never
But it's interesting. It's just, let's take this time to reflect and remember and grow, because there were women in the 1920s who wore pants because everybody wore skirts, and they were like, no, I want to be able to wear pants. I immediately think of the first Wonder Woman movie that came out a couple of years ago, when she goes into the store and she puts on this whole crazy outfit, and it's not crazy, it's beautiful. And then she starts doing like high kicks for karate. And she's like, how do you defend yourself in this outfit? And I was like, exactly.
listen. And also, what? I don't know, maybe 5 years ago, we just started getting dresses with pockets. What were we doing beforehand?
Legitimately. And then somebody even said the reason that women's clothing didn't have pockets stems all the way back to like witch hunts. Because if you were like secretly hiding things, you had to be a witch. So that's why they stopped putting pockets in women's clothing.
What in the blasphemy?
Is that not insane? Everything gets pockets now. And if I'm a witch, so be it.
Right? Call me witch to my face. Call me. Call me. I'm going to cast a spell. By cast a spell, I mean pray for you.
So I wanted to maybe take this time to maybe showcase the women who have been prevalent on our show and give them some shout outs. So
No.
um,
That's wonderful.
so first, I would say first and foremost is Jess. Jess was our very first sound producer. We've been doing this almost 5 years, guys. Jess is amazing. She was so funny. And Jess is one of those women who does not give a crap. If you push, she is pushing you right back. I wish that I could sprinkle a little Jess in my coffee and have that sass and that attitude, because oh man, she is amazing. And I'm preface the word amazing. If you're looking for like a drinking game, you're gonna get drunk right now because it's about to happen a lot.
You're going to get drunk. And then right behind Jess, we got to go with our girl, Ellen. Girl with the most fabulous hair and great wit. Ellen, I enjoy her presence because number one, she makes me feel young and old at the same time because she has such a youthful presence, but then she talks about things. I'm like, oh, wow, I am so old. I'm so tired listening to how long your day is. So, but Ellen, oh, just her youthful presence, how she owns who she is. She has this great comedic wit, and she's just okay with being herself and expressing herself through her many creative forms. So, Ellen, I miss you, boo.
We can't wait to see you again. Also, we've got Kate.
Come on, Kate, with your happy, beautiful life and self.
Kate got married.
She got a puppy. She got a puppy.
Kate has a T-Rex costume.
That was like our first intro to Kate, was going to the parking lot. And I was
you guys want to see my T-Rex costume?
Yes. Because if you say no, then there's no chance of a friendship. Like
Now, I'm going to give a quick shout out to Randy. He's not a woman, but because we're mentioning everyone, we love you, Randy.
More than a woman. More than a woman to me. But also
We've
he's a
also had
man.
some really great guests on our show. We've had Shannon, we've had Shannon. She was awesome.
Angie,
Juliana, who is just this like who's engaged now.
More good news.
And it's just like, you know what? It just shows. I feel like all these and is Angie your friend with the bikinis?
Angelique, who also just got engaged. What?
Yeah.
Listen, we birth love on this show. We may complain about things. We ourselves may be delightfully hilarious and delicious and yet somehow single. However, we produce a lot of love on this show. Like the amount of people that have met like great partners and have gotten engaged and married. Yes. And they didn't even get to Jenny Wade's hole.
This is what I'm saying. We Liz came on the show. Liz and Jeannie, fantastic. Heather and Danielle with their independent woman company. Like I feel like we are so fortunate because this platform and getting into it when we did, and with the support of Podcast Detroit, because your girls are not tech savvy.
We hide it really well. Well, some of us hide it pretty well.
Very well.
Oh, lastly, my favorite storyteller, Laura Wilder.
Oh, and like I swear we've so many. There's so many good guests and so many strong women who know who they are, who know what they're looking for in their life, and who are going out there to get it. Heidi B wrote a freaking book
and changed my life. Okay.
And changed our lives. This like introspective opening, and I feel like that was like the door that opened that encouraged us into mental health and really realizing that being open about what's going on in your life to someone is only just going to get better for you. And it's just, if we could say anything in this moment, we would say thanks for being the badass chicks that you are, and just keep doing what you're doing. And, come back on the show and tell us what up.
Say what up, y'all. Yes. Woo, ladies.
Ow. It's Women's Day. Do what's good for you. Do what feels good in your heart. And, just own it. I don't know. That's my...
Own it. Jump on it. Yes. Here for it. Yes. All right, Chels. I can give you 3 different things to end this show with. I can give you, because shouts out to all of you all that listen, men and women that listen to this show. But our listeners have called me out on a few things. So I can either give you a VWQ. I can tell you about the dream that I alluded to 2 episodes ago. I could also tell you just a very brief story about why I said I was hungover 2 weeks ago. So we get 3 options.
Can I choose 2 out of 3?
If we have time, sure.
Okay, can we hear, can I hear the VWQ and then the dream?
Yes. In a dream, my Chels.
In a dream, my stays.
This is what we do off air, okay? I just need you to know that we are not ashamed. You said VWQ?
Yes.
All right, that one's brief. So it's time for Virgin
questions. Stacey is a virgin
by choice,
and sometimes she has questions,
like all the time. So I don't know where the stigma came from, but when asking people if they wear socks to bed, like socks on their feet, people will be like, "What are you, a serial killer? Is that true?" Like, I don't know where this comes from. To the point where apparently it's now engraved in my brain because I was talking to a guy named Paul, ping, and he talked about how he was going to wear socks to bed. And I was just like, okay, serial killer. And I'm like, what? It just popped out. So where does that come from? Do you know?
I don't know where that specifically comes from, but I do know that people do say, like, I remember my parents even telling me, like, I would go to sleep with my socks on, and they would be like, you can't, your feet need to breathe, get them out of your socks. And I'd be like, I put on new socks, and he's like, oh my God, like, stop wasting socks. So and I remember being like, always forcing myself to not wear socks, even though I personally don't like my feet. It's rough stuff down there. So like when I sleep, if they like rub together, I'm like, oh no, that's not comfortable.
Friction.
The friction is real. So I personally made the decision to, wow, my phone is just blowing up tonight. And
She's mine for the next 4 minutes.
Like for the next like 5 minutes. Yeah. So I personally like wearing socks. But I like forced myself to not, because I had this bad connotation in my head. I don't know about the serial killer thing specifically, but I did find out years later that there was a study, and that says that people who wear socks to bed fall asleep 7 minutes quicker.
Interesting.
It's a comfort thing, and also it has something to do with like heat. And another fun fact, because let's be real, we're virgin with questions. They say that people get made fun of people who have sex with their socks on, but it actually said that 65% of people are more comfortable having sex when they're completely naked with socks, because then there's so much feet stigma. So it's like, no, just don't look at just socks. Don't look at my feet, like, because again, friction on. So I'm like, I'm totally there. I am 100% guilty of that. Hashtag sorry, Dad. I prefer to leave my socks on.
That is hysterical. I had no idea.
I felt like I was the only one. And then it turns out like more than half of the people in this one random study were like, no, socks are bae.
Socks are bae.
Before all else, right?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. I think we have a couple of minutes. Can you tell us your dream?
All right, I'm gonna power through this. I'm just gonna go in a steady stream. Yeah. Okay. So, alrighty. So, picture it, Stacy. I'm at church. I see my dreams in third person, so that's why I started off in third person, but we're just gonna switch back to first person. So, I'm at my church. I'm in like one of the side rooms because I do go to a larger church, and I'm chatting it up with my homegirl, Rihanna. And Rihanna is fuming. So I'm like, girlfriend, what's going on? She said, oh, just wait. So we're both looking at the TV, and it's some like business, stock market, news type of channel. And there's a lot of stuff going on because Rihanna and her business partner were dating, but they recently separated. So everyone wants to know, like, why did they separate, but also like how the company's doing. Apparently the company's doing really well. So how is that even working? So they invite this guy onto the show and not Rihanna. So first of all, how dare you? Because it's Rihanna's name of the company. Okay. Girl is a beauty empire. So they have this guy, and his name is Jay. So they have Jay on this business stock market thing. So they're asking him about the business, how things are going really well. Their company has now gone public, so you can buy stocks in it. And then they say, yeah, but what do you think about Rihanna? And he says, and this guy happens to not be a person of color, so he's Caucasian. And he says, Rihanna's like, okay, I don't know the rules for the other side. I'm not going to lie.
You can say it's fine.
So Jay says, Rihanna is like the 2% of Black people that I wish didn't get killed. And I was like, what? So Rihanna's just like, what the F is this? So she's like swearing her like behind off in church. I'm like, say what now? And I was just like, so you're saying he was trying to get the bag, meaning get that money and get that sex from Rihanna. Rihanna's just like, I'm so mad. And she goes to like tear the TV off the wall. I don't want to watch this anymore. So she took the TV off the wall and put it in a pillowcase. I said, or also you could have just turned it off. I don't know why you're being so dramatic. So then also in the room is my dear friend, Sylvia. So Sylvia is just sitting in this folding chair with her arms folded. And I'm just like, Sylvia, what's up with you? She's like, oh, just don't even want to talk about it. I said, Sylvia, are you pregnant? She was just like, I said, okay. I was like, all right. She's like, but I don't know. I don't even know if I can go through with it. I said, all right, just if you want to talk about it, I'm here. I said, who else? No, she's like, no one. If you tell anyone, I will murder you. I was like, fantastic. I'm just filled with all the emotions with people.
Can I offer you a TV and a pillowcase?
Exactly. So I go to leave. I was like, okay, that's all the drama I can take for today. I'm going to leave. So I go to leave the church. And so I bump into this actual guy that just, he's never done anything bad to me, but for some reason, he irks me. I can't even explain why he irks me. He's done nothing to me personally at all. This person irks me. And so I bump into him, and his name is Sid. So Sid goes, wow, look who decided to show up. Okay, wow. And I'm like, not today, Sid, not today. And this is not his character in real life. Like, this is him in the dream. There's this other handsome looking man, tall, dark, handsome, and has locks, but he also has an undercut. And I'm like, you sexy. So he turns around hearing Sid like giving me crap. So the guy turns around. He was just like, hey, hey, how are you? Are you okay? Like, do you need help? And I said, sir, thank you so much for turning around to check to see if I was okay. Because he heard Sid giving me a hard time. I said,
be worried about Sid.
Right. I said, I appreciate you turning around to check on me. I promise I'm okay. Like, we're cordial. We volunteer together. It's fine. He's just like, okay, well, I'm still going to keep a lookout just in case. I was like, I appreciate you, you real delicious man. So then Sid, he gets on his motorcycle. So I'm walking to my car and he's like revving by me like, oh, okay, well, glad for you to show up or whatever. So glad you could grace us with your presence. Hope you're doing okay, Stacy. We'll see if you're doing anything. Just being a real like jerk for no reason. So then I say, oh, I need to go back into the church. I didn't need anything. I just didn't want to be busted anymore. So I go back inside, come back outside. The youth department of the church is having a reunion in the parking lot, and they're all just dancing and grinding on each other. And I'm like, what the heck is going on right now? So I'm walking by, and so this one guy who annoyed me that I used to know, Alan, he's in like grinding mode with all these people. So I'm just like, I'm just trying to get to my car. So Alan comes behind me, puts his hand like,
I'm gonna preface this 1 second. When you say youth, do you mean under 18?
We will say 18 to 24.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To most of your churches, that means like 12 to 17.
Oh, see, I appreciate you. Thank you. So the young adults, we will call them, not youths, the young adults ages 18 to 24, having a reunion in the parking lot, grinding on each other. I'm trying to get past the young adult grinding. And this one guy, Alan, comes up behind me and puts his hand and grabs my stomach. Oh, no. So then I am torn between a rock and a hard place because I am
assault.
because I'm thoroughly offended. Why would you grab my stomach, the part that I do not feel great about on my body? That is like the number one place I don't feel great about majority of the time with my body, especially now. And so it's like I want to punch him in the face, but also I do a lot of volunteer work in the church. It's just not going to be a good look for me personally. So I turn around and I put like a loose grip around his neck. And I say, listen, I don't know why you thought that was okay. And he just goes, oh my God, I didn't mean it. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Oh my God. I'm like, are you sorry? You thought it was cool to come up and grind on someone and grab their stomach? Why would you grab their stomach? stomach. He's just like, oh my God, I was just kidding. I'm like, so sorry. And I'm still like choking him this whole time. I was just like, I need you to know that I purposely have a loose grip because I'm not trying to kill you. But you need to know that what you did is not okay. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I'll never do it again. I was like, thank you. So I leave, I get in my car, and then Sid, the annoying guy from earlier, is following me on his motorcycle. I said, are you kidding me? Like, I don't have time for this. So my actual thought was, you know what? I'm not going to go to my house because I don't want Sid to know where I'm living. I'm going to go to a nice neighborhood because there's a lot of white people and they leave their doors unlocked, and I'll just walk in a house. So I pull up to a house, I park. So you see Sid like parked out. So then the door's unlocked. So I go inside. There's a cat, pretty friendly, didn't like scratch my eyes out. So I said, oh, wow, way to high five myself. Way to pick a good house. So Sid finally takes off. I had some stuff and I placed it on, I thought was a table, but it was actually a soundboard. So then the sound went up and you just hear that like dirty, like house music, like, bah, 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 bah. And I'm just like, okay, going to wake up people. Oh God. So then the lights come on. I was like, oh shoot, this is bad. So then what a friend of ours, his name is Nat. Nat comes out and he's just like, Stace, what's going on? I was like, oh my gosh, I can explain. And then his wife, Teresa, comes out. I'm like, hey, she's like, hi. So then the actual owners of the house come out. Ryan and his lovely wife, Joan, they come out. I was like, guys, this looks terrible. I can explain. And Ryan's just like, and I don't care. It's just you. I'm like, okay, that is not an okay response because no one should just be allowed to come into your house unannounced, but also y'all be leaving your doors unlocked. So then his wife comes out and she was just like, what are you doing here? I said, I honestly have a valid explanation.
What time were you at church?
What'd you say?
What time were you at church that you got there so late that everyone was in bed?
It was like 9:30 p.m. on like a weeknight.
Nobody's in bed.
But we want to be.
That's true.
So then when his wife came out, and so she was just like, it's okay. I just figured you were hungry because you're always hungry and you wanted food. I was like, okay, number one, you're right, but still not a valid reason to have someone just break into your house. And then I woke up.
Okay, first off, very detailed. Love it. Secondly, I Googled third person dreams and I need to share it with you. So it says, dreaming in the third person implies that the dreamer is viewing only what others are doing, or it seems the dreamer is being personally talked about, but is not part of any conversation, which is weird, right? Like, so maybe that's not what you're, I don't know. But this suggests that you feel very isolated from the social processes around you. Well, of course we do. It's 2021. Like, no one's in social processes. Google.
Correct. But I will say, I called my friend that was in the dream. I don't remember what name I used. That was pregnant. Because I called her, I said, listen, I don't dream about you. And I told her. And so I said, what I think, I said, because we have like similar sexual histories or lack thereof. I said, so it probably means you have like this big like desire and thing that you want to do in you, but you're scared and you don't know if you can go all the way through with it. She's like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what's going on in my life right now. And then we had a great conversation.
That's great. Listen, I hope you all enjoy listening to this as much as we enjoy recording it for you. Take care of yourselves. Remember that you're the only you in the world, and you're important and deserve to be here. Take care of your heart and your mind. And this Women's Month, like, celebrate you and your friends and text your friends. Tell them that you support them. I think that's all the time we have. So that's Stacy.
That's Chelsea. This is Reasons Why I'm Single. We'll see you next week. Make sure you play the song I'm Every Woman, because why not? Okay, bye.
Bye.
You sound so good.
Why? You're so fabulous. Yeah, I'm single, ready to mingle. Yeah, single.